Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are having a most blessed day. It's time for your daily Bible verse. And today we're going to read Matthew chapter 8, verses 23 to 27. Then he got into a boat, and his disciples followed him. Without warning, a furious storm came up on the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat. But Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, "Lord, save us, we're going to drown." He replied, "You of little faith, why are you so afraid?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves, and it was completely calm. The men were amazed and asked, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey him." So, what's happening here is Jesus and his disciples are in a boat. A storm comes up on the lake when they're sailing away. The disciples are getting worried, and in some of the other gospels, they're like, "Save us, we're going to drown." Here it says that in Matthew. Some of them, they get even more dramatic in some of the other gospels. They're worried, they're concerned, But there's Jesus. He's sleeping through the whole thing, knowing that the Father is keeping him safe, knowing that the Father is keeping the ship safe in general. The thing is, the disciples had to work on their faith, And that's when Jesus comes up, he rebukes the winds and the waves, and it's calm. And then he's like, "You have little faith. Why are you so afraid?" Jesus had all the faith in the Father to keep the ship safe, and he was. But the disciples did not. They were worried. And they were amazed. They're like, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and waves obey him." They were taken by shock, obviously, taken by surprise. They're like, "Even the winds and waves obey him," They knew he was the Son of God, but let's just be realistic. If we saw that, if we were in the disciples' place, we saw that, we'd be like, "What?" And I just wonder, how many times when we have a storm that's raging in our lives, how many times do we become like the disciples and we start to doubt too when that storm is raging and it looks like the ship's going to capsize? But the thing is, how many of us are like Jesus, who's asleep knowing that the Father's keeping us safe, That's something we all need to work on. And this is a great message for so many that I know are struggling right now. Keep faith. God's got you. Y'all have a blessed day. Jesus loves you. I do too.